Welcome to Tips and Sounds advice for your new pavilion. Remember that it's best to assemble the pavilion in calm weather. Before you start, it's a good idea to unpack all the parts to get an overview of them. Start by sizing both ends of the sill with a hacksaw to an internal length, including connectors. Assemble the 4 sills on your foundation and secure them with screws on each side of the assemblers, if required. Remember to joint them. Find the side of the sill where you want to mount the door and mark it with an X. Remove glazing beads and protective fittings from the elements. It is important to keep track of your glazing beads to ensure that they are remounted in the same places. Give them a number if required. Move to the left or right of the sill and start with an element. Remember the drain holes must be facing outwards. Measure from the corners of the sill to the element. It is important that it is the same on each side, approximately 9 millimeters. Pre-drill holes in the bottom of the element. Drill 4 holes and secure them to the foundation with the proper screws. Remember that the screws must be a minimum of 15 centimeters from welded joint. Cut all corner posts in both ends. Then take 16 pieces of metal and push 2 of them into each corner of the corner posts. Make sure that each piece of metal moves in the proper groove. Check that no metal projects from the ends. Fasten the pieces of metal with 20mm self-taping screws. Close the bottom of the corner post with silicone. Secure a corner post to the element erected using the screw clamp. Use a 4mm drill bit to drill in the center of the element and out into the corner post. Use 55mm screws. You can now proceed to the next element with the window aperture. Place it on the sill and secure it to the corner post using the screw clamp. Drill and screw as you did with the previous element, but not at the bottom. Continue all the way round until you reach the door. Mount the door using 4 70mm screws on each side. Use a 4mm drill bit. Remember to remove the keys from the frame. All the elements have now been mounted with 1 screw in the center and 4 screws on each side of the door. Now tighten all the screws of the element in the bottom. Remember to center them on the sill before you tighten the screws. Tighten all the screws of the element as you did with the first element. Drill all the sides of the elements at the top and at the bottom. Drill 15 centimeters from the welded joint. Insert screws only at the bottom. Find out where you want to place the downpipe and start with the gutter with the spout. Do not place it at a window aperture. Push the gutters together on top of the element and tighten the screws in the 2 holes furthest out in the gutters. Remember the 3mm joint between the gutters. Start at the door. Check that the gutters are placed in the middle of the element, sideways, and that the small inside edge of the gutters abutts the element. Drill up into the gutter using a 4mm drill bit. Secure it with 70mm screws. Insert 3 screws in each gutter. Insert the 2 outermost screws at least 25mm from the outer edge of the element. When the gutter at the door has been secured by screws up through the element, continue around the unit tightening every second screw. Having done this, finish tightening the elements at the top as before. Do this by means of a screw clamp and 55mm screws. Then join the gutter inside using our 3M joint sealant. Use plenty. Now take your immediate ridge and place it on the floor. Turn it around so that the holes point towards the corners. Now place the rafters at each corner post with the pointed end facing the centre. Choose 2 rafters opposite each other and mount them on the ridge and then at the bottom. Now they require no support and it is possible to mount 1 raft at a time. When all the rafters have been positioned, check that all of them flush diagonally. If so, secure them completely. Now join all the screws at the bottom of the element and position glazing blocks. Mount the glazing units. Use a rubber hammer for the beads. It is important to wedge up the unit in all 4 corners. It is now time to mount the poly roof sheets. This is done from a stepladder outside the pavilion. Mount the glazing units and mount the sill beads using silicone. Stand between 2 rafters and remove a glazing bead on either side. Take a polish sheet and push it up between 2 rafters until it cannot go any further. Check the distance to the rafter is the same on either side, then secure the little white mounting block with screws at the bottom of each side. Then secure the glazing beads at the bottom. Follow the procedure all the way round. Now use a rubber hammer to click the beads in place. If you cannot reach the top, position yourself at the bottom of this gutter, resting your knees on the rafters. Make sure that this is a safe way to do it. When all the beads have been mounted, check that the rafters are straight. If not, adjust them with a rubber hammer. Apply silicone around the rafters at the top, finally attaching the top by jointing it. Take the lower ridge, a 20mm self-taping screw and a white plastic plug. Mount the ridge directly up into the centre of the intermediate ridge. Now mount the corner caps on the gutter by removing the paper from the stickers on the caps. Apply 2 strips of silicone and click them into place all the way round. The downpipe should now be mounted. Push the spout onto the gutter, hold it down against the sill and measure the length at the top. Then mount it with a self-taping screw plus a white plastic plug from the inside of the bend and down into the sill. Your pavilion has now been assembled. Please note that you can adjust the door if needed. The top and bottom hinge can be adjusted in and outwards by loosening with a Phillips screw. The door can be adjusted in the bar lock using 2 eccentric Allen screws. All hinges can be adjusted using an Allen kit and a 10-inch open end spanner. Enjoy your new pavilion!